suggest we start. Dear candidates, dear family and friends at home, due to the corona circumstances, welcome to this graduation ceremony. On behalf of Maastricht University, and in particular the Faculty of Health, Medicine and Life Sciences, suggest we start. I want to welcome you to this special meeting of the Board of Examiners.
Dear family and friends
at
home,
because
due to
the
the
only
corona
goal
circumstances,
of this meeting is to
welcome.
graduate students and to present and hand over the diplomas to you. My name is Timo Clemens, as I guess you all know. I'm chairing this session in my function as member of the Board of Examiners, replacing Dr. Nienke de Jong today. So you know me better in my function as placement coordinator and thesis advisor, and you will see I will wear multiple hats during this session as well. So today, 16 students will graduate from the Bachelor European Public Health, and I hereby officially open this meeting. As a first point, I would like to invite Dr. Matthew Commerce, as the Program Director of the Bachelor European Public Health, to address you. Dear Matt, I invite you to take.
Thank you very much, Timo. It's wonderful to be able to take off that mask for just a few minutes here and address you on this event and occasion of your graduation from the Bachelor of European Public Health. So what I would like to do is to start by congratulating you as BEPIs and as now graduated, or in a few minutes, officially graduated BEPIs. When some of you attended the open day some years ago, if you did, you would have heard me say that our first priority in training you here and educating you at Maastricht University would be to make you excellent public health professionals, to give you a solid foundation in public health. That has now been achieved. And we have also added the European dimension, and that is, of course, a major component of our program is the focus on the organs and institutions of the EU, on the directives and the regulations, and of course even beginning with the treaty that was signed here in 1992 in Maastricht itself. So congratulations, as you have obtained the foundational knowledge in both of these areas. And this is more needed than ever. This is a situation update from the ECDC as of yesterday, and as we all know, our lives have been turned upside down the past 7 or 8 months due to COVID-19. We have a global pandemic at hand, and this is obviously something that emphasizes and makes clear the extraordinary relevance of public health today. If we see here, we see the cases climbing. We know that the cases, the official confirmed cases, are nowhere near the actual total number of cases, but that's already at 41 million, and we're at about 1.1 million deaths that are known to be attributed to COVID. Now, for you as public health professionals, you know that it's not only about an infectious disease, it's not only about a pandemic, but what we are witnessing now is creating public health damage on multiple levels. Think about, I think you are aware of what it means that the schools have closed. You are aware of the impact when millions of people fall back into poverty due to loss of employment. You see the extra dimension and damage in the area of mental health due to the isolation that people are currently experiencing. And all of the other facets and the incredible interconnected complexity of public health in the world. So for many people, this is simply an infectious disease outbreak, and people are waiting for the vaccine. But what you're seeing is from the causation through this process of dealing with the pandemic, both in terms of the communication and importance with the public, through to the development of not only a development of a vaccine, but how do we get it to be used? How do we get people to trust it? And then going beyond that for the coming 5 to 10 years in terms of the actual public health impact. So I think that both on a personal and public level, in some sense, this is an end. It's an end for you in your bachelor, but it is also a new beginning. And Pliny the Elder said, from the end springs new beginnings. And I think that's true for you as you're ending your bachelor and new beginnings are coming. But also in terms of the pandemic, hopefully we will see an end to the massive outbreak over the coming 12 months, but that will also be a new beginning. And we already are seeing signs of how it has changed our society and changed the world. So what should you do now that you've finished your bachelor? Well, of course, you have some plans, but I want to give you some advice as well. A few words of advice for you. First of all, I would say dream big and dare to fail. This wonderful Turkish poet, Mehmet Murat İldan, he wrote, "There's a hidden message in every waterfall. It says, if you are flexible, falling will not hurt you." So I think as you enter your career, especially in a public health career, sometimes you're going to need to bob and weave. You're going to need to move into different areas. My own career has included work in academia, but also consultancy, hospital administration. For public health professionals, oftentimes you're going to need to move back and forth, and I think that'll be the case even more so. But dream big, dare to fail, and expect that you will make some mistakes along the way, but keep going. Margaret Thatcher wrote, "Constitutions have to be written on hearts, not just on paper." So my advice to you is build legitimacy with real debate. Engage institutions, engage communities, engage your fellow professionals in real debate about the issues at hand. Because people ultimately, if we expect people to obey COVID regulations, if we are asking people to take action and support actions for a healthy society, we need them to participate and help authentically, whether that be by voting, whether that be by obeying certain regulations, or whether that be by taking certain actions in their lifestyles or in their organizations. And for that, you have to have authentic buy-in. And the only way to have authentic buy-in is to engage in real, reasoned debate. Initiate and create. Goethe wrote, "Daring ideas are like chessmen moving forward. They may be beaten, but they may start a winning game." So initiate. I think you'll find that if you can initiate in your career, and you'll always have the opportunity to do that even early on, although your freedom in that regard will probably grow. But as you initiate, you take ownership of little pieces of your life and your career. And I think you'll find that that'll be very enriching to you because you start to define one aspect of your work. So don't just react, but actually proact and initiate in your work. Find the gaps. Tuli Madonsela, who is an attorney in South Africa, wrote, "I need to listen well so that I hear what is not said." I think this is an insightful comment. You need to look for what is not said, what is not written. That requires some insight, and I think that's where the breadth of your education really will play a role in informing you, because it's going to allow you to see gaps in policy, to see problems that are invisible in projects, and to address them. Never stop discovering. Sharon Begley wrote, "Somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known." And I think you all went through this process in your thesis work, in discovering things in the literature that you were curious about and bringing that back and applying that to the world of European public health. Finally, actually there's one more, but reinvent yourself once in a while. Now, actually, I could have even made this a little stronger. I would have said you must reinvent yourself, because I think that we're seeing that careers in people among my age, we were told you're going to shift careers maybe 2 to maybe even 3 times across the course of your working life. And what we're now seeing is really the emergence of a continual professional development, of continual learning, because our knowledge base is moving so quickly that you may actually end up in a process of continual evolution in your professional skills. And hopefully we've prepared you for that. We've given you some content knowledge, but we've also really emphasized in problem-based learning the ability to research and to find new knowledge that you need. So George Eliot wrote, "It's never too late to be what you might have been." And this is a beautiful quote because you will be rediscovering yourself over the course of your career. And finally, step by step, make at least one definite move daily toward your goal. So keep going. All of you are already moving on, of course, after your bachelor, and many of you are probably very busy taking the next steps all the time. But keep moving ahead and taking steps toward your long-term goals, and ultimately there's no question, I think, that you will approach them, or maybe your goals will shift, like mirages sometimes in our lives. Our goals actually change as we pursue them. But keep going. So I wanted to let you know that Maastricht University is behind you. This university is now ranked regularly in the top 110 to 120 universities in the world, and we've made it into the top 100 a few years. So the Times Higher Education ranking puts your education among the very top in the world. The Bachelor of European Public Health is well known and respected, of course, within the Commission. We're known and recognized within the Directorates General, and that will follow you. And also I wanted to let you know that in 2019, when we were reaccredited, we got 4 goods, which is a pretty high grade, and we got an overall grade of good, which was very, very unique for a bachelor program. So the point is that this program, as something that will be on your CV throughout your career, we are committed to keeping it strong and to continuing to build it as a credential for you that will follow you in your career. The university is also in front of you, and as many of you are, of course, already engaged in your master programs, we've had our graduates go on to a vast array of master programs across Europe and, in fact, across the world. And many of them are working in very, very interesting places now, as this is the 16th year of our program's operation. Many people are working in public organizations, but also the private sector and business, and in the nonprofit sector as well. Alumni are critical to our success with the BPH. When we did our revisions of the curriculum that we launched this year, which do maintain the EPH identity to a very high degree, most of the material that you learned will continue to be taught in the new curriculum, but we revised the format substantially. And when we did that, we consulted 20 alumni, and we said to them, what are the things that you liked and have paid off most for you in your career, and what are some of the things that you would address? And that's what we tried to do. So please link with us on LinkedIn, link with me or other staff members, and keep in touch with us and consider us a resource. If you want to consult with us on things during your career, if you want to advertise some initiative that you're putting forward, let us know, and we'll do our best to help you on that. So on the future of Europe, Churchill said years ago, we're asking the nations of Europe, between whom rivers of blood have flowed, to forget the feuds of 1,000 years. More recently, Merkel said the euro is our common fate, and Europe is our common future. And Emmanuel Macron said we have a huge responsibility to make sure that Europe remains a prosperous and peaceful continent. And I think that these comments make clear how important your work is in the project of Europe, in the projects that you will pursue regionally, maybe at the national level, and then the work that happens in Europe and the implications of that actually as part of the overall project of global health. So I congratulate you very heartily today. It's wonderful to see you here, and it's a little bit different changed format, but I think that we have a wonderful ceremony here, and I congratulate you on this wonderful milestone in your life. Well done.
Thank you, Matt. We will now continue with the actual graduation, and I will need to explain the procedure to you because we have some more steps in terms of instructing you. We will ask you to come down within your thesis groups. Please do not cross each other, wear mouth mask whenever you come down, or walk over here. We ask you, when your thesis group advisor is addressing you, to stand over there with distance at the left-hand side. After you have been addressed, I will mention your name one by one. You are asked to come pick up the diploma. Afterwards, turn around. There's a camera over there at the top. Shortly greet and wave to your family and friends. Move over to the photo stand at the right side. Take off your mask. A photo will be made with your diploma. Afterwards, take on the mask again. Matt will hand over a rose to you, and please be seated again. So quite a number of instructions. I guess when the first group and the first people have moved through, you will see how it is going. So let's start, and I invite Hakim Al-Tamimi to come down. Hakim has been supervised by Professor Milena Pavlova, and I invite Milena as well to come down.
I'm also very happy to have the chance to take my mask. So, dear graduates, dear colleagues, graduation is a very special moment for every student, and I'm very glad to be present during this ceremony and to congratulate Hakim in person with his achievement. My work with Hakim was full with surprises, but all very nice surprises. First, he surprised me by developing on his own an excellent research proposal. And not only that, but also before many other students even started thinking of their theses. And he even
All very nice surprises.
First, he surprised me by developing on his own an excellent research proposal. Among and not Yemeni only that, refugees in the Netherlands. When the thesis period started, I didn't hear of him for a month or two, and I started to worry. But I got an email, and he was apologizing and explaining that he has a delay because he was doing the honors program and has all kinds of deadlines. Well, this was not a real delay, but just a bit late start of a very successful thesis project. Mid of June, the thesis was ready, and it was of excellent quality as determined by my grade and also the grade of the second supervisor. So you can understand that I'm really very glad to be here and to congratulate Hakim in person. Dear Hakim, you are bright and talented, and I was amazed by your skills to find strengths and to overcome all delays and hurdles. You overcome all the hurdles with grace and smile, and it was really pleasant working with you. And you ended your study with an excellent thesis. Because of your thesis, we now know more how Yemeni migrants in the Netherlands perceive health and healthcare, and you even propose ethnic-based community mobilization strategies to improve their health and the use of healthcare. I hope we can advertise these results to decision makers, but even more, maybe you can become a decision maker and implement all these recommendations on your own. I do not have any doubts that you have the skills to achieve that. So let me conclude by saying congratulations and a lot of success with your future study and career, and I hope that we stay in touch. Congratulations.
My congratulations. The next thesis group has been supervised by Dr. Rock Hirsic. Because it's a large group, I invite you to come down in 2 parts, and we will start with Luise Lamach, Christopher van der Linden, and Johanna Leonie Tassot.
I've prepared a very short message for each of you, so I'll just take you in turn. Dear Louise, you were placed with the European Public Health Association, the core non-governmental organization representing the interests of public health in Brussels, working on the emerging topic of digital epidemiology. Very exciting topic, I think we both agree. Although the work was challenging at times, perhaps having some difficulties contacting some key people right in the process, you produced an incredibly valuable evaluation of both opportunities as well as challenges that new digital technologies bring for the European Union health policy, especially when it comes to epidemiological research. I sincerely hope that the experience helps you as you continue your journey at Maastricht Graduate School of Governance. I've heard it's a tough program, but I'm sure you will easily succeed there. Congratulations. Dear Christopher, your thesis grappled with the question of comparing the resilience of health systems, both in Europe as well as in North America. A very ambitious project, I think we both agree. You experienced firsthand how challenging it was to recast something as complex as health systems as a list of domains that we can then easily measure, compare, and provide advice to, right? Nevertheless, with a lot of determination and a great deal of creativity, which did not surprise me at all, you overcame this challenge very successfully. Your thesis provided us as the public health community with a great overview of systemic risks in healthcare for some of the most advanced economies in the world. It's a great pleasure to also welcome you as a colleague in teaching this year, which is again a very pleasant surprise, and it's fantastic to have you on board. I hope you'll have a great time conveying some of your experiences that you've gathered as a BEPI to the next generation of students. Congratulations. Dear Johanna, you were placed with the European Commission, one of our most coveted options available. However, not many students in the past made as much from this opportunity as you have. You wrote an excellent thesis on the risks of donations of reproductive tissue and the regulatory response they require. You also brought in collaborators from the Council of Europe, which will afford your work even greater impact. Really fantastic effort and a very important contribution to public health, I believe. I do wish you a lot of success in your efforts to also publish this work so it can be further disseminated and really used in the policy process, as well as on your journey as well at the Maastricht Graduate School of Governance. Congratulations. fantastic to see all three of you again in person and not just via Zoom calls as we spent most of this spring. Dear Ilya, your thesis explored the effects of the '08 recession and subsequent austerity on health and healthcare in Greece. A super important topic and an important piece of work that you did, carefully laying out and detailing the twists and turns of this story, a complex story, something that has not yet been done to date, at least not to our satisfaction. It was a challenging project that you undertook with a lot of information and data that had to be located, made sense of, and weaved into a fabric of a comprehensive story. You rose up to the challenge very admirably and told an important story when we needed to hear it. You reminded us of the need to protect health and healthcare as we plunge into yet another economic crisis and ponder what to do about it. I hope that you take these lessons of your achievement and your ability as you continue on your journey. Congratulations. Dear Frank, your thesis accented your talent in historiography as you traced the development of Dutch and German healthcare systems over time. You carefully identified and highlighted the myriad factors that shape the decisions of policymakers in the two countries. I found it fascinating that you found that the '08 economic crisis did not remake the politicians' plans, but merely accelerated the already existing ideas. So what you found is that it did not spur our decision makers on to new bold ideas of what healthcare could and should be, but caused them to stay safely in the little box of conventional thinking. I really wonder what you think will happen this time, and I know that you are a very opinionated person, so I'm very curious to hear from you. But I also hope that you will continue your habit of challenging the orthodoxy and out-of-the-box thinking as you become an expert in healthcare management too, and wish you a lot of success on this journey. Congratulations. Dear Tom, your thesis explored what makes our health systems efficient. On surface, this is a very simple question, but I think we both learned very, very quickly on that there is much, much more than meets the eye. Luckily, your confident, structured, and methodical approach to your work allowed you to work your way through dozens of very difficult technical studies of health economics and summarize their findings in a way that is accessible and therefore useful to policymakers as well as the lay public. I am convinced that these attributes will help you achieve success in your future endeavors as well as you continue in the same topic. Nevertheless, I also wish you a good measure of luck to be sure of your success. Congratulations, Tom.
Ilya, I invite you to be the first. My congratulations. Frank. My congratulations. Thank you. And Tom. Thanks. Congratulations. Okay, for the next thesis group, I invite to come down Christa Tashure, Petra Andelic, and Christian Koller. This thesis group has been supervised by myself, so I'm changing hats now. Wow, good to see you back. Good to see you in person after all the online meetings. Let me address you three individually. Dear Christa, you looked into national action plans against antimicrobial resistance and in how far they incorporated the One Health approach and multi-sectoral collaboration. You could show that the environment was somewhat missing as an actor in those plans, nor that there was a strong planning on costs and financing in their implementation. You took a very rigorous approach in terms of case selection, meaning countries, identification of literature, selection of documents, and their analysis, beyond what I would consider to be expected at bachelor level. As I said before, there is great potential in doing research as well later on. Very well done, and good luck with your future endeavors. Dear Petra, you were working on swans, and not the beautiful animals you may have in mind now, but rather very disadvantaged patients with symptoms without a name, so that's what SWAN stands for, not being able to obtain a diagnosis for their symptoms. And you could show that, in fact, technical diagnosis, gene analysis, and a comprehensive in-depth evaluation by a multidisciplinary team can, in fact, help them to either get some of those patients a diagnosis or at least understand what kind of alterations in their gene exist. Next to advancing new techniques, you could show that some good practice models in fact exist, but they need to be rolled out at a larger scale. I was impressed how you built on your conceptual underpinnings of your work and combined two theoretical approaches to guide your work and the identification of literature and documents. Well done. Congratulations with your achievements. Dear Christian, you researched patient rights and their application in the context of dementia care in the Netherlands, and thereby shedding light on an interesting aspect of patient rights when patients cannot or partly decide for their own. This is really a delicate field for practitioners, relatives, organization, and lawyers when making treatment decisions. I believe it's fine to say that our supervision trajectory was somewhat special, given we worked together over 2 years. I felt in between you needed to fall in love with the topic you had chosen yourself at some point. But at the finishing straight, you really produced an interesting piece of research. My congratulations with your thesis and your bachelor degree, and all the best for you in your next career steps. Give them an applause. Okay, it's Christa. My congratulations, Christa. by Eva Pilot, and I invite to come down Aitan Sultanli, Patrick Joosten, and Mareike Milne. Unfortunately, Eva is not with us, so Matt will address you.
Well, Eva sent me her speeches for you, so I have the honor of reading them on her behalf. She's very sorry she couldn't be here today. Dear all, this year the thesis group was very special. Firstly, we had to overcome the cyber attack. Luckily, we managed to find each other via social media platforms. Once the group was linked again, we started working on the research proposals. And then, starting your placements in research, we realized that COVID-19 was getting into full swing. One country after the other closed the borders and travel restrictions appeared. We had plenty of emergency calls to communicate on solutions and debate decisions. This was, of course, full of emotions and anxiety. Luckily, the thesis group worked very well together and supported each other far beyond the thesis work. We established a WhatsApp group and monitored closely each other's movements, situations, and emotions. We organized an online mini-conference to share the thesis results in a more formal setting. I felt we all did our best in creating a great support group to spend some extraordinary time period connected together, which I will always remember with a smile. A big thank you to the whole thesis group. And now some of the group members are here in person. Patrick. Patrick performed an internal placement where he focused on a literature review on the topic of smart drugs on the rise of the European Union. Motives, experiences, and risk perceptions. Initially, you wanted to perform qualitative interviews to get better insights into the local situation of different universities in the Netherlands. Due to COVID-19, you had to adjust your method into a well-performed literature review comparing the European Union countries and shed light on the increasing consumption of smart drug use overall and specifically among university students. This study was well received. Congratulations and well done, Patrick. Mareike. Mareike opted for an internal placement aiming to study and analyze the patient perspective of medical cannabis laws in the Netherlands. The qualitative study collated data from literature and analyzed the identified policies following the post-structural policy analysis by Ba. Your results highlighted that the stigmatization of recreational cannabis in the state perspective significantly taints the image of medical cannabis and causes patient access barriers on several socioeconomic levels, or socio-environmental levels, You concluded that more evidence in the field of medical cannabis could potentially result in the consideration to replace the state perspective with a more patient-oriented approach. Excellent work, Mareike. Aitan started her placement with the Research Center on Health, Quality of Life, and Lifestyle in a geodemographic and socioeconomic context, GeoQual, at the Faculty of Science at Charles University in Prague, Czech Republic. You started to focus on the topic of multi-resistant tuberculosis in Prague and Czech Republic overall. When COVID-19 expanded, you managed to cross the border very last minute to return home. Due to limited access to interview partners from the Czech Republic, you decided to broaden the scope of your research and focus on challenges of multi-drug resistant tuberculosis in the WHO European region. Review of risk factors and control measures. I was impressed by your dedication, Aitan, and flexibility to adopt this situation. Congratulations to you, Aitan. To all, much success for your future. Stay healthy and in a positive spirit. With best wishes, Eva.
for the final thesis group to be addressed in this ceremony, I invite to come down Elizabeth Callahan, Linda Gorges, and Madeleine Kalisch. This group has been supervised by Dr. Paul Lemons.
Great. We had a great group of students this year. I hope you agree to that. Madeleine and Linda were going to Lisbon, Elizabeth Luz and Anastasia, the latter are not here, to Barcelona, although alas for a very short while, of course, due to Corona. Madeleine got into drug testing in European prisons. Well, not physically, but, you know. And Linda into the trends in cocaine use and its consequences, not physically, not really, but, you know, in the literature. And Elizabeth into social inequalities in alcohol policy or related to alcohol policies in Europe. All very European, all very relevant public health topics. Really interesting collaboration with the institutes. Intense and fruitful discussions with each other bilaterally, with the staff of EMCDDA or Barcelona clinic, the hospital clinic, quite intense. Unfortunately, I fell ill at the end it interfered with a smooth end, but to which I apologize again, but all theses were of excellent quality and made me wonder, I'm not needed anyway. Linda's research showed the many pitfalls in interpreting research data in the area of cocaine use, as I said, related mortality and morbidity. One such is the variety in post-mortem practices in different jurisdictions in the EU. In her thesis, she presented laboratory practices and made clear that differences in legal guidelines and technical possibilities will lead to differences in outcome over time and between countries. It's very important for policymakers, I think this is the message, take-home message, to be aware of how data on mortality and morbidity, how they are constructed. They are taken for granted normally, but there are many pitfalls into this. Madeleine's task was to make an inventory of drug testing in European prisons. As I said, she did a great job together with the Lisbon supervisor. You are thinking of publication even. I hope that will work. I will contribute to this, if I may. From our work, it's clear that drug testing is not to be regarded as a simple issue, but that's part of a complex organizational and judicial system in each of the different jurisdictions with many contradictions facing law and decision makers. The research gave inspiration for follow-up topics, at least to me, such as drug test validity and reliability. There's a lot to say about that. And the sociological perspectives of how drug testing affects person who use drugs in prison, the emic perspective from a sociological point of view, you might say. Very good work. It took the Barcelona crew, of which you were part of, quite a while to arrive as a suitable research question and plans. Not easy to fit into the European project, which was euphemistically called Deep Seas, I think, something like that. I always wondered whether it had any relevance to the difficulties in the beginning, at least. It changed quite a bit over time, but you adapted well. Elizabeth you had to leave Barcelona too, like all the others, and you moved to Madrid. And I don't know whether that was any improvement, qualitative improvement at the time, in Corona times. I remember I was complaining one time about your sound quality. I thought it was generally bad, but then at the time I couldn't make out anything of that. So I was thinking about the quality of Spanish microphones or equipment, but it was an enormous downpour, actually, on a thin roof or something, or on the roof that you were sitting under. So it was very funny. These are some of the funny things that happen when you're Zooming with each other. Her topic was socioeconomic alcohol-related health inequalities. I was very happy to see that the research allowed us to take steps towards a more comprehensive look at the relationship between alcohol use and harm. And you also brought forward an important issue, namely that the one-size-fits-all approach of raising price of alcohol and reducing availability of alcohol, often propagated in the public alcohol health world, may lead to increased levels of health inequalities rather than to reduce them. So a very important message, I think, came out of your research. Furthermore, your research provide a preliminary framework when developing interventions with a strong emphasis on cross-cultural collaboration, cross-sectoral collaboration in policy making. And I think that is an important message for the policymakers in Europe to take home as well. Finishing up, congratulations with your diploma. Hope we can have a toast together sometime later when all this is over, and I wish you all the best for the future. Thank you.
Let's start with Elizabeth. Congratulations. Linda. Madeleine. Before we come to the end, usually we wouldn't address during this ceremony students that are not there, but given special circumstances, I think it warrants as well certain special measures as well. And we would like to read out the names of those that couldn't be there today, because it's such a large share that isn't with us today. So the 2020 BPH graduates include obviously as well Anna Bach, Antonia Beckers, Marie Christoffersen, Anastasia Döldes, Marli van Dommelen, René Freins, Lia Gosati, Sophie Gidikas, Silvia Grote-Riera, Maike Henkens, Marleen Kötz, Luz Kreftenberg, Priscilla Massoli, Judith Müller, Sterre Otten, Alex Prikop, Leon Rode, Lisette Roos, Elias Salo, Juliane Scheutisek, Lotte Venhuizen, Lotta Virtanen, Anna-Sophie Weber, and Ingrid Weindorfer. Give them a big applause, please. So we come to the end of this session in which 16 candidates received their bachelor diploma. I nevertheless still have several final announcements. A final assignment. We prepared your diplomas with due care, but nevertheless it could be that there are errors in your name, in the grades, or something with the attachments. So please at home check if everything is correctly displayed, and if not, contact the Board of Examiners. Please note that unfortunately there's no gathering, no drinks after this ceremony. We will take a group picture. This will be done here in the hall, so remain here. Our photographer will instruct you. In about 3 weeks, you will receive a link to the pictures of the photos taken during the ceremony on your email account by the alumni office. And after the picture is taken, we would like you to ask to leave the hall row by row, obviously with distance to each other, go to the reception for signing out, and heading off the building and the campus thereafter. It was a great pleasure for me to be the first to congratulate you from this place, as it is good custom in the Netherlands. I would like to congratulate family and friends at home with the achievements you made. Congratulations. Thank you for watching. And by this we have come to the end of the meeting. I wish you all a pleasant day, and I hereby close this meeting of the Board of Examiners. Bye-bye.